Spray, spray, spray. It's going to be the theme of the next couple months. Say when you're a cotton farmer, you don't get the crop laid by in June. There's always weeds that need to be sprayed, bugs that need to be sprayed, plant growth regulator needs to be sprayed, and then finally defoliant needs to be sprayed. So that's what we're going to do. First thing we got to do is get this hooded sprayer ready to go. You know, it's set up to do our burn down strips in March with our drop nozzles in between each hood, so we're not going to be using those. We're actually going to be spraying up underneath the hoods and then post directing up under the rows. So we got to get all these tips set up and got to take our drop nozzles off to get this thing ready to go spray some weeds in our cotton ground. And then Kelly and Andy getting the other sprayer ready to go, because pretty sure we're going to spray plant bug this week, and I know we got to spray some plant growth regulator this week. Well, we finally made it out here to the cotton field. Got the hoods going, got the GPS calibrated, everything's putting out a-okay. Won't y'all look at that cotton? Oh my, there ain't a prettier sight around. Boy, that's some fabulous looking cotton right there. In fact, it's so good, let me stop here for just a minute and get out here and show you what we're looking at. All right, we're out here over on the Dunlap farm. This is the cotton I didn't have to replant, and it sure looks it. And believe it or not, it's still pretty dry over here in this area. While we got some pretty good rains back over towards the shop and some of our other farms, this farm right here only got about 3/10 of an inch of rain late last week, Saturday, I believe. And you couldn't tell by looking at it. I mean, this stuff is getting after it. Nice green color. Then looking down in here, I mean, it's loading up good. There's squares all over the place. Let me see if I can find an older square that's probably not too far away from blooming. So here's the oldest square on this plant. I'd say within probably about 7 days it'll be ready to bloom. You know, ideally, you know, we'd love to see a bloom by the 4th. However, for us, it just doesn't happen all that often. But you know, generally the week after the 4th, we definitely want to see a bloom, and I believe we're going to see it in this field. My other cotton, it's going to be sometime probably between the 10th and the 20th before we ever think about seeing a bloom over there. But last week when we were out here, you know, we were spraying for plant bugs, and we were spraying plant growth regulator, and plant bug stuff did its job, but we've got to spray again this week. You know, we got some green corn right there across the road, and they just migrating over here. So normally we have to spray for insects about every 2 weeks. On this farm, we might spray a little more often, but you know, we're trying to preserve all the good fruit that's on the plant right now, because that's going to be our money bowl. So we're going to get back in here tomorrow and hit it again with Centric. But looking at our plant growth regulator, this part of the stalk right here was already established last week. So you know, we're a little over 3 fingers between nodes, about 3 inches between nodes. So it's definitely growing pretty aggressively, vegetatively, not terribly, but more so than what we want. And then you look right here between this node and this node. That's right where the growing point was this time last week when we applied that methacquat chloride. And you can see it's right there, a little less than 3 fingers in between each node. And then looking up here at the top, it's definitely a lot more compact. And then looking over here at this plant, you know, it's basically 2 fingers between the nodes. So what we're doing is we're shortening that internode distance right there to keep a more compact plant that focuses more on reproduction than vegetative growth. And the methacquat chloride does not slow down the growth of the plant or the development of the plant. What it does is when this plant puts on new cells to grow, the cells are shorter. instead of longer. So it's still putting on the same number of cells and everything, but just making a little bit smaller cells. So like I said, it doesn't actually slow the cotton growing or developing or anything like that. It just makes a more compact plant, easier to harvest, easier to manage bugs in, and if you do it right, it'll yield more because it's not expending near as much energy growing vegetatively. As you can tell right here, you know, our fields are pretty dang clean. This farm has had one application of sequence on it. The dual didn't get reined in. Cover crop's doing a good job of holding the weeds back, but we got real bad problems with morning glories in this field every year. So we got Liberty and Valor in our hooded sprayer here, and it'll take care of the morning glories and any pigweeds we got out here. I've done a little bit of chopping. Haven't seen any little pigweeds. All the ones I've seen are too big to be killed with a hooded sprayer, so we've had to chop a few, but really wanting to keep this field clean right here. And as fast as this cotton's growing, probably another week and a half, this cotton would be probably about too big to get the hooded sprayer through it. And we've got real good chances of rain this week to get the Valor that we're putting out, the pre-emerge, get it washed down into the soil where it'll provide a nice barrier for many other weeds to come up. And looking back here on our hooded sprayer, that's why this is so good for weed control in cotton. If we were to come spray over the top right now with a herbicide, you know, we would get pretty much what's in the middles, but any weeds that's up under the row, we would have a real hard time getting because the cotton here would intercept the herbicide and keep it from getting down there. So that's where these post direct nozzles come in right here. They're shooting herbicide up under the cotton plant to get any small weeds that's growing right up under the row, but it's spraying it up underneath all of these leaves. Like this leaf right here might catch some herbicide, but it's not going to damage the cotton plant. But you know, it's pretty much going up underneath all the leaves on the cotton plant to where it doesn't damage the cotton. Now the Liberty itself won't damage the cotton because our cotton is resistant to Liberty, but the Valor we got in here, it will absolutely smoke the cotton. But it's an excellent residual herbicide, especially on a lot of weeds we see in cotton, morning glories, pigweeds, a lot of grasses and stuff. So hopefully this herbicide application, if we can get a rain on it, get it rained into the soil, it will provide a good barrier for any weeds coming up, and will keep this crop clean until this cotton grows enough to pretty much lap the middles and put shade on the middles to keep any other weeds from coming up, which hopefully will get us through the rest of the year. Anyway, because we got such a wide range of window on our cotton, it's not like we got a blow and go on this hooded sprayer. You know, right now we've got about probably a little over 200 acres of cotton that's big enough to run the hooded sprayer through. And then hopefully next week, you know, the rest of the cotton will be big enough and we'll run the hooded sprayer through it. Our cotton scout scouted the cotton today, and we got about 220 acres of cotton that we need to spray for plant bugs and plant growth regulator on, and the majority of that is our earliest replanted cotton, plus this field right here. Our later replanted cotton, just not mature enough yet to really be attracting a lot of plant bugs, but pretty sure this time next week we're gonna have to load up and spray that cotton for plant bugs. And when you farm cotton, that's what you do. You know, you just don't spray one or two herbicide applications, maybe a fungicide application, maybe just maybe one insecticide application like you would on corn or soybeans. With cotton, you can just about guarantee about every 2 weeks, if not every week, you're going to be spraying for something, whether it's weeds, growth regulator, or for insects. It's just the life of a cotton farmer all summer long. Well, here we are on the 4th, back out in the field today, running these hoods. On this day of liberty, no pun intended, I've taken the liberty, no pun intended, of choosing these pigweeds out here, their last meal of Liberty and Valor. Just a little farmer humor there to brighten your 4th. Yeah, on this farm there aren't major holidays. About the only holiday we can reliably guarantee of taking off is Christmas. But weeds don't care, it's the 4th of July. Bugs don't care, it's the 4th of July. So when the going's good, we got to get them. Fortunately, all of our cotton that need to be sprayed for bugs, it's now caught up for the week. We beat this rain coming in, hopefully tomorrow, the next day, so should get pretty good kill on the bugs, and should have enough time to get run these hoods through the cotton that's tall enough to run through it before the rain, and get that valor incorporated in the soil to where hopefully don't have to worry about weeds anymore here. Kelly's been helping me a little bit fill up and stuff this morning. Gave Andy the day off. You know those youngins, I'm sure he's got big plans for the forest, so he's been pulling a lot of hours the last few months, so giving him a day off to enjoy the forest with his friends and stuff. So when you get old like me, just the appeal of going to the lake and fireworks and all that kind of stuff just doesn't have the appeal to me anymore that it did when I was younger. I'd just about rather be out here in the AC on a tractor looking at some fine cotton. So anyway, just going to work on this all day until it's time to go to the ball game tonight, and hope everybody enjoys the forest. Hope all y'all appreciate the freedom that we've been granted, and all the people who have died and fought for us to have that freedom. So it's not all about fireworks and beer and boats and everything else. Yeah, I know our country's got a lot of problems and everything. It's not perfect by a long shot, but I guarantee you we got it a heck of a lot better than just about any other country in this world. So appreciate what you got, folks. That's all I got for today. I told Andy, got back from the forest, he probably gonna start hauling grain. He must be excited to get in the truck. He was out here extra early this morning, getting the truck filled up and ready to go. He must be looking forward to doing some trucking. Now we're getting his first load prepared, get him on the road. Unfortunately, looking at my bin manager right here, they could still use some more drying down, but it's after the forest. We're living on vacation in 2.5 weeks, and landlords have got to be paid. So we just probably going to take a hit on that very top layer there at 14.8%. We did have some in there at 17%, so it's dried down a good bit of ways. It could probably use the rest of the week, but like I said, we got to get hauling. I got the first load up. Guess I forgot to hit record, but anyway, I was telling Andy we got to try and make 4 loads a day because we got a little over 2 weeks to get this delivered in, and the river's only open 5 days a week now the wheat harvest is over with. So got to try and get in 4 loads a day, which shouldn't be a problem unless there's lines up there, which hopefully there shouldn't be.
The first load has made it to Bungie once again, so I'm gonna open my tarp here, and I'm opening my tarp now, and we're gonna see if we can't get in line and get dumped. All right, the first load of one of 33 about has made it to Bungie, so I just got out and opened my tarp, and now we're sitting in line letting this guy in front of us get his test in, and then we're gonna stick a probe in our trailer and see if we can dump some wheat here. All right, pit number 2. And just like that, we are pulling our empty trailer with no more wheat on it out of CBG. So the first load of 2023 wheat has been dropped off. It's on its way to you guys. Alright. That sheet of paper means the first load of wheat this year has been hauled off. Let's see what this paper is saying. Well, let me get off this scale real quick. Alright, well there's nobody behind me now. It's at 1,112 bushels which ended up weighing about 66,720 pounds on the trailer of wheat. And our moisture is 1460. That's not great. That's not terrible. We did put a little bit of wet wheat in there, but those dryers have been working nice. But those numbers are looking pretty sharp to me. Now let's close up this trailer and go get the next load. Well, I was coming to move a turtle. He was just like right here. And I had to straddle him over, but I guess he knows the drill. He did not want that to happen. I believe we're only going to be able to make 3 because it's a 2-hour round trip. So, and I started at 8. They start at 8 and close at 5. So.
All right, I just want to take a minute and show you why we're spraying the way we're spraying with a hooded sprayer instead of just spraying over the top like most everybody else. And main thing is because of the chemicals that we're applying. The ones that we can apply over the top are not going to be effective on a lot of our problem weeds, especially like pigweeds and tea weeds. But if we can spray a chemical up underneath these hoods, it's not going to get on the cotton plant. We've got a lot wider range of effective chemicals that will work on a lot of our problem weeds, especially residual chemicals that will keep them from coming up. So right here, we got some inrows that got sprayed less than 24 hours ago. And here's some Johnson grass. As you can tell, that stuff is already well on its way to dying. Here's a tea weed right there. You can see it's burnt, it's well on its way to dying. But then look outside the inrows where we haven't sprayed yet. You see how nice and lush and green that is? In less than 24 hours, these herbicides are already working, and we got a hot mix. We're spraying 32 ounces of Liberty, which we could spray over the top, but Liberty does not offer any kind of residual herbicide activity, and because this is going to be our last herbicide activity, we want to put down a residual that keeps more weeds from coming up for a period of a few weeks until this cotton grows and laps the middles and blocks sunlight from reaching the soil, which should provide effective weed control as it is. So in addition to the Liberty in that mix, we've also got Valor, which is you can't spray it over the top of any crops. It'll severely injure it. And a lot of what we're seeing is the Valor already working on these weeds. The Liberty hadn't had quite enough time to really start working. But if we do a sloppy application with our hooded sprayer, if we don't stay right on the rows, we can get some extremely severe injury on our cotton. See right here, I mean, this is less than 24 hours. We got some damaged cotton, and it's only going to continue to get worse. And where this is where our main rows come into our end rows, and that outside hood on the hooded sprayer comes over that. So because we got a lot of angled point rows and everything, we're definitely going to get some damage on the cotton. There's just no two ways about it. But the main thing is you know, when I'm driving, is to make sure I stay perfectly on the rows and don't swerve at all. Otherwise, we're gonna wipe out or severely injure 12 rows of cotton. And definitely don't wanna do that. Now, if you look here up under the cotton plant, you can also see we've also got weeds dying. And that's coming from the post-directing part on these hoods where we're spraying up underneath the cotton rows. See, if we were to come in here with a herbicide over the top, a lot of that herbicide would be intercepted by the cotton crop and would not get down to the weeds up underneath it, which could let weeds escape and grow up and compete with the cotton. So that's the other benefit of running the hooded sprayer here. It's not fast, it's not easy, but it gives us better options for weed control, and it does a better job of weed control than just a strictly over-the-top post-emerge application. And as long as we can get a rainfall within probably about 7 days to activate that Valor in the soil, it ought to keep us weed-free, hopefully for the rest of the season.
Well, we just finished the third and I believe final load for the day, because I don't think I'm gonna make it back. It's 3 o'clock now. And it's a 2-hour round trip, hour there, and I'll be at the shop about 4:30, and there's no way to make it by 5. So all the wheat that I've hauled off today has been looking pretty decent. You see all the numbers right there. The moisture is the main thing that we're looking at, and they've all been around 14.5, 14, in between 14.5 and 15. So that's pretty decent. But now we're done. Now we're done hauling for today. So I'm gonna head on back to the shop and see what's happening in there. Sorry, I got distracted again, but.
Well, look like we might need to call it a day here. Let's check the radar, and there's a line of storms coming in, and this Liberty probably needs a rain fast of probably at least 45 minutes. So rather than wasting any more watching it get washed off, we'll just go ahead and park this thing and be ready to go again tomorrow, depending on how much rain we get. Well, I hope we do get a rain. We've been blessed with some pretty good rains here the last week or so, but in July, grain fill on corn, you don't ever turn a rain down.
Well, good morning. We're on load number 1 of the day before out of the bins. Sure the tires look good. This is load number 1 of the day, but 4 out of the bins. Yeah, this is my 4th load, so this is starting off with number 4. Hopefully I'll get to number 8 today. Load. This is a Carter load, so it is heavy. But nothing I can't take to the roof. We've made 3 successful loads so far, and we are currently getting loaded with our 4th load of the day. I believe this is going to be my last trip up there because once again they close at 5:30 and it is 2:30 now, so by the time I get up there it'll be ready? We're loading right now. But by the time I get up there it'll be about 3:30, and then get back it'll be about back up 4:30. And stop. Kelly's trying this new way with the radio. She's got a radio on top of the loading bin, and obviously you can hear her, and it works a little better. You ready? It works a little better. And go.